Now the Act 2, the Sampoer who gambled. The title of the Act 2 is the Sampoer. So the Sampoer is not someone who gives shampoo to someone. Like some Sampoer मतलब जो massage करते हैं बालों का. It's not the same. Back in those days, Sampoer were those people who gives massage to the entire body kind of जिसको मशूज़ कहते हैं आजकल के समय में है ना, मसाज पार्लर में जो मशूज़ रहते हैं. Anyway, now the play starts and he says the act opens in Vasant Sena's house. So पिछला जो प्ले था, जो पिछला जो एक्ट था, इट वाज इनसाइड द हाउस ऑफ चारू दत्ता. सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ काइंड ऑफ डुअलिटी हेयर. एक जो पहला एक्ट होगा वो चारू दत्ता के घर में, फिर द नेक्स्ट एक्ट वुड बी इन वसंत सेनाज हाउस. सो इट कीप्स ऑन जंपिंग फ्रॉम वन हाउस टू अनदर. एनीवे, सो द एक्ट ओपन्स इन द वसंत सेनाज हाउस. Vasant Sena confesses her maid that she's her maid Madnika. So Madnika is the maid. Okay, so Madnika, her love for Charudatta. Now she is accepting the fact that she is in love with Charudatta, because Charudatta's virtue is actually it's a more like a he's a very he earned a great fame because of his virtue, and because of that she is in love with him. See, Charudatta is a very poor person, and still she loves him, and she is a very rich person. You see. Anyway, let's see what the text says. The Madnika is asking, my mistress is so absent-minded that I know her heart is filled with longing for somebody. Now she is saying that, she knows that. It's obviously that she stays most of the time with her because she's a very closer ally, she's very closer maid to, to Vasant Sena. So she is asking, why is your face, so stressed? Why do you feel so absent-minded? What is the matter? And she knows that, she is in love with somebody. So Vasant Sena says, girl, I wish to love, not to worship. Now, this is a very powerful line. She is saying that I wish to love. I do not wish a kind of person or kind of man, to whom I can worship. So generally क्या होता है कि in Indian civilization, if you read the Indian text, in the Indian classical text, you will find that women used to call their husband, guru or something like God or something like that. They used to worship their husbands, and even in this particular play we will find that the wife of Charudatta actually worships him a lot. So this is also a kind of way of looking at the play and how people were treated back in those days. So here Vasant Sena says, I'm not a kind of worshipper. I'm not going to worship my husband. I want someone who can love me, who can actually thinks that we are together, we are equal. So she wants somebody to have an equal participation of love. It's not like you are superior than me or I'm inferior than you kind of. This is a very typical Indian style where men are basically seen as a superior person and women as an inferior person. But she doesn't want that. She doesn't worship his lover. She wants somebody who can appreciate as much as she is appreciating the next person, right? Now she says, Madnika, now I know it is the man who confronted you when you asked to be protected. Now she's saying, is it the same guy who saved your life, who protected you that day on the street? Then Vasant Sena says, well, what was his name? Now tell me what was his name. If you know him, you must tell me. Then Madnika says, why, he lives in a merchant's quarter. Now he's saying he's a merchant. And it seems that she knows. So Vasant Sena asks, but I asked you for his name. What is his name? Tell me. If you know, then tell me. Then Madnika says, his name, mistress, is a good omen itself. Now his name itself is a good omen. Matlab something, because since he's a virtuous person, so he's always going to be very positive guy. And then his name is Charudatta. Now she says his name is Charudatta, and Vasant Sena agrees and she says, good, Madnika, good. You have guessed it. तुमने सही से guess किया है. And then Madnika says, so much for that, mistress. They say he is a poor. Now she says the same, and she says the most like arcs thing, like, because since he's a poor, why are you in love with him? Because you see, there's a contradiction here itself, because prostitutes and all the courtiers, they used to see love as a kind of making money kind of thing. Like if somebody doesn't have money, then of course they are not going to sleep with that person. So there is no love between a rich courtesan or a rich prostitute with a poor guy. But see, the Vasant Sena says that no, that is the very reason why I love him. So since he is a poor, no one can expect that that a Korean can love even a poor person. So this is a typical kind of not just Indian style, but anywhere. If you read the Western civilization, the old classical Western literature or old classical Indian literature, you'll find that how the prostitutes were treated. They seemed as if they only need money, but here she doesn't need money. She doesn't want someone with a great wealth. She simply wants to give her heart, or she simply wants the virtue, the love, right? And then she says, for a courtesan who sets her heart, a poor man is blameless in the eye of the world. It's obviously that she would be seen as as a blameless, because nobody is going to blame her. Because it's obvious that courtesan will take money, for whatever the performance he was going, for whatever she does to the man, or whatever she does with the man, right? But she is going to be blameless if she is in love with a poor person, right? And then Madnika says, but mistress, do the butterflies visit the mango tree when its blossoms have fallen? Now comes the truth. This reminds me of Shakespearean line where Shakespeare talks about, there is going to be a time when the beauty will fade away. Beauty doesn't stay for forever. So it's the same way Madnika is saying, but mistress, do the butterflies visit the mango tree? Which means that since you are young right now, and you are in love, but do you really think that that you would be still in love if Charudatta becomes old, or if you becomes old, if you become old, do you really think Charudatta will love you back? Then Vasant Sinha says, that is just why we call that sort of a girl butterfly. And now he's saying, this is why we call such girl a butterfly. So butterfly is basically all the prostitutes. He's denoting prostitutes as a butterfly, because when they are young, they are actually active, and they'll make a lot of money, from her body. But once she becomes like old, nobody actually wants them, right? This is basically the critical approach. Now what happens is the Sempur appears while they are having conversation. So you see, there is a contrast here. In the first act, we saw that there was a conversation between Charudatta and his friend Maitreya, but here Vasant Sena is having a conversation with her friend, or with her maid, right? So it's more like a mirror image here. You see, it happened at Charudatta's house. In first act, we find that the story was unfolding at Charudatta's house. In the second act, we are finding that the story is unfolding at Vasant Sena's house, right? So a Sempur appears at the street, persuaded by the gambling master and a gambler. So यू सी कहानी बिल्कुल सेम है, यहाँ भी सिमिलर है. वहाँ पे वसंत सेना के पीछे 3-4 लोग पड़े थे, एंड यहाँ पे गैम्बलर पीछे पड़ा है किसके? सैम्पोर के पीछे पड़ा है, यू सी. And then who demanded on him 10 gold pieces which he has lost in the gambling houses. So this is also a critical approach कि डुअलिटी है यहाँ पे. दोनों मतलब एक तरह से मिरर इमेज है. पहला एक्ट दूसरे से मिरर इमेज है. वहाँ भी सेम हो रहा था दूसरे पर्सन के साथ, यहाँ भी टिपिकली द सेम स्टोरी इज अनफोल्डिंग हियर, यू सी, है ना. एंड एट दिस पॉइंट what's his name? Dardruka enters and engages the gambling master and the gambler in the angry discussion, during which the Sampur escaped in the Vasant Sena's house. So in this particular situation, ये जो Sampur है, he actually slips into the Vasant Sena's house. वहाँ पे Vasant Sena slips in कर गई थी कहाँ के? किसके घर के में? चारुदत्ता के घर में. In the same way here, this gambler, this Sampur, he escapes into Vasant Sena's house. Okay, then what happens is that when Vasant Sena learns that Sempur had once served Charudatta, she pays his debt, and the grateful Sempur resolves to turn monk. Now he becomes a monk. We will look at the text as well. So you see, the Dardruka, he says that I have made an enemy of the influential gambling master Mathura. I had better not stay here. Besides, my good friend Shavlika told me that young handsome named Aryaka has been designated by a soothsayer as our future king. So please do remember, this is a very important line. This is very important because this is the subplot basically, because I have already mentioned in the previous video, or maybe previous video, that Aryaka is going to be a king, है ना, because there is a soothsayer, है ना. Soothsayer, someone who tells you the future. सो फ्यूचर बताने वाला कहता है कि आरिका विल बिकम अ किंग, है ना. सो आरिकाज स्टोरी इज गोइंग टू बी द सब प्लॉट हियर. And then he says, now everybody in the condition is running after him. So since this soothsayer says, I mean, ever since the soothsayer says that Arika is going to be the king, king जो है ना, king और king के आदमी इसके पीछे पड़े हैं. Now they're going to kill him or they're going to imprison him because there's a, also there's one more thing you need to remember कि our writer Sudaraka is also a king. You know, he was a king Maharaj, right? And still he's criticizing the king. You see, I mean, how many kings have you seen who criticizes the other kings? I mean, who criticizes the entire kingdom or the power of king, kind of, you know? Because I mean, he's not just criticizing any kind of king, he's criticizing someone, you know, who is a very corrupt king, you know, who doesn't want. And also this was the time in the ancient India when India was trying to, you know, get free from all these kingly states and everything. They wanted the democracy, they wanted kind of, you know, something that you know, that deals with the entire population and everything. Anyway, now now he says that take care of the babies as quick as you can and climb up roof at a tree. The elephant's rogue wants the blood of a man. Escape, run away, can't you see? So everything is chaos here. This is a very chaotic scene where you know, Arika is running from everybody, and also this soothsayer is running like, you know, because the gambling master is actually running you know, running for Dadruka. Now he says how they lose their ankle rings, cradles, sets with chains and things, break away from fastening. So this, it's all the chaotic scene what is happening on the street they're talking about. And then says as they stumble, trip and blunder, see the bracelets snap asunder, each entangled preely wonder. You see, this is a very beautiful rhyming style. It's very beautiful. You should definitely read this entire play. And then what happens is that he says that I hit him in fit of passion. So what is happening here is that, okay, I will tell you in a brief. What is happening here is that you know, when the Semper and Gamble, you know, the gambler, they arrived at Vasant Sena's house. In the meantime, what happens? Semper actually, you know, what he did was he escapes in Vasant Sena's house because he was running from the gamblers. And at the same time, there was few person, you know, who were actually running for Aryakas, because it was said that Aryaka is going to be the king. And because of that, you know, people were, you know, the outside, the people were actually, it's very chaotic. It was very chaotic. And also an elephant was on the loose. So elephant जो था, elephant क्योंकि किसका एलिफेंट? वसंत सेना का एलिफेंट. वसंत सेना सी हैड एन एलिफेंट. सो उसका जो एलिफेंट था ना, उसके पैर में जो मतलब उसको जकड़ के रखने के लिए होता है ना, इट वाज लूज ओपन एंड ही वाज एक्चुअली मेकिंग, यू नो, ब्रिंगिंग क्योस इन ऑन द स्ट्रीट्स, है ना. तो this is the description. And at that time, this one guy called Karnap, he actually saves everyone. He actually saves a person, and he's saying that I hit him fit of passion too. He really looked like some great mountain peak, and from between those tusks of I drew the sacred hermit meek. Now he's saying that he saved a hermit from the chaos of this elephant's feet. And he's actually talking about how great he did, how good he did, how he tried to save this particular hermit. And this is also seen as a very beautiful gesture, because generally people actually run away from the chaotic situation from the elephant, but he was courageous there. As he leaves the house, he attacked by a runaway elephant and saved by the Karnapa. So that we have already seen. So there is a conversation between. So it's basically the mirror image of the previous text. I hope you got it. There is nothing much in it. यहाँ पे सिर्फ स्टोरी है जहाँ पे क्या होता है कि वसंत सेना के घर में सेम्पोर आता है, and he escapes in her house, because he was running from the gambler. और उसके बाद क्या होता है कि बाहर chaotic situation होता है जहाँ पे elephant loose open हो जाता है ना, और elephant brings a lot of chaos, and within them there is one guy Karnappa. He actually saves this one hermit from elephant, and he is actually talking about how great he did, and also people are praising him. बस यही scene है और कुछ नहीं है. ठीक है. Next, what happens is that we will just finish this video here only. We will just stop this video here only, and in the next video we will try to cover up Act 3 and Act 4. Okay, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.